minds think alike. Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. Let's rock. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast.
All right, welcome to the Great Minds Podcast. This is Derrick.
This is Vaughn.
And we're here with Tyree Barnes, aka Black Genius. What's going on, brother?
Yes, sir. Life is good, man. I'm enjoying myself. I'm having a good time, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
No doubt,
appreciate
man.
You
looking good. You looking confident. You looking like $1 million, fam.
I feel like a Billy. To be honest, man.
All right.
This my day to day. This my go to attire. I know some people is like, oh, I got this sweatsuit I grabbed. But this is what I'm usually in. You usually catch me in one of these.
All right, that's bag talk then.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right, so let me do a brief intro for Tyree in case you don't know who he is. Newark, New Jersey's own educator, entrepreneur, rapper, mentor, and he good dude, man. And we'll get a little bit into your entrepreneurship and your inventions and a bunch of stuff getting in. So I'm really excited to have you on, man. So thank you.
I appreciate it.
Word up.
All right, so we had Chad on a long time ago. You know that. I know you caught that. I feel like I'm looking at Chad again.
Yeah, I watched that episode, man. It's a good episode. I might say, if I say myself, it's a good episode.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Tyree, when you tap into your background a little bit for the people.
Yeah, man. I'm again Tyree Barnes, Newark native. Still live in Newark, work in Newark, do my work in Newark. I grew up here, single mom, 6 kids. Chad, as you mentioned, Chad is my brother, Chad B. Shout out to my brother, best friend, Chad. Similar story to most people coming up in this type of environment, type of background. Went to Abington, went to Arts High, went to Rider University, studied business, came back, got into education. I've been working in education for the last 10 years. Became a school leader, school co-director, principal at 26. And after 4 years of being a school leader, just ended that my tenure there. And now I'm just consulting for educational institutions across the city, across the state, lending my expertise to other leaders to make sure that our babies get what they need. That's
no doubt.
Yeah,
So Tyree, so your upbringing, what was a young Tyree like?
Oh man, not this fit guy. He was a little chubby. I was, I was into snacks as a kid. That was my thing. I like snacks, but I was the awkward child. I was a little bit different. I was thinking about things differently. I was seeing things differently. Around maybe first or second grade, I got tested for the Gifted and Talented program, and I transferred from Dr. Horton to Abington Avenue to be in the Gifted and Talented program. And there, like, my mind was just, they had me studying things that was just off the wall, military strategy, just like a range of things. And I was just blown away. I was really into that type of stuff. But I would come back home, and not many of the people that in my community, my direct environment, were experiencing that type of exposure. And so I was naturally the awkward kid, right? A lot of jokes, a lot of, this nerdy kid. He just want his book. He just want to do these things. Wasn't too big into sports as a kid, to be honest. I didn't get into sports until high school. And you brought up Chad. The main reason I got into sports, I went to Arts High, and everybody knew when I got there. They were like, "Oh, that's Chad's brother."
Right.
He got to be an athlete. Like, he needs to run track. He needs to play basketball. He needs to do these things. And I was like, all right, cool, I guess, But I was a musician. I played drums since I was like in 4th grade. I was a musician. I liked books, drawing. I was into that type of stuff. And that was me, man. And, it's just a little different kid.
Yeah. So it's a quick question. Who saw that in you to get you tested for the talent and gift? Like, what was going on that make people go, you know what? This kid is doing something different.
Yeah, I'll tell. So there's 2 quick stories. The easy part I'll answer first. So there's a bookstore on Broad Street. Source of Knowledge. You guys familiar?
I'm familiar with Newark. I don't know the store.
Okay.
That store though.
There's a bookstore on Broad Street, Source of Knowledge. I encourage all the followers to check it out. But there's a husband and wife that owns it, and the wife was actually my kindergarten teacher.
Okay.
And so, as the legend goes, I can't remember this. I was a kid, but as the legend goes, it all started with learning your colors, and we in class and we're talking about the colors, and we're going through all the colors, and they flash a color. The kids are like, blue. What color is this? This is yellow. And what color is this? And the entire class is like, oh, that's white. And I'm like, oh, that's silver. Like, I know.
Oh, you were that guy.
Yeah, I was that kid. And so that's the legend that's what started it. And Miss Barnwell, who's the woman, who's the co-owner and was my teacher at the time, started to pay a lot of attention to me. And from there, what I know is a lot of conversations with the principal, with my parents, that, I think this kid will be, is beyond his years. And then, there's the testing. And then, my mom asked me straight up as a young lad, is this what you want to do? She walked me to the school. Do you want to go to school here? And I was like, yeah. And, they transferred me to a new school, and I got involved in the Gifted and Talented program from there.
That's dope.
And I think it was good to see you accept that. What type of pressures, if any, did you have being Chad's brother? I mean, Chad's a Newark legend. You know what I'm saying? Started with sports, and then he just blew up with music for a lot of people out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you really knew of Chad, you knew him from basketball. If you knew him more closely, obviously you knew of his music. What type of pressure did you have? Because, like, basketball and rapping are, like, cooler things. You know what I'm saying? And now you in this lane being smart, God forbid, right?
Yeah, you mentioned it at the outset, right? Like,
right.
What you said is like, we had Chad on. That's one of the first things you mentioned.
Right.
Like, and for me, even until this point in my life, and granted, I've built a resume of my own, but all up until college and through college, I go to places, and on both sides, one, people be like, yo, you look like Chad. Yo, you know Chad?
Exactly like him.
On the other side, like, it's also been very beneficial in other areas in terms of, like, things would be happening in the neighborhood, and they'd be like, nah, that's Chad, little brother. You good. You come with us. You don't want to involve with nothing.
Right.
And so kind of like living in that shadow a little bit. Also, like I said, I was athletic genetically, right? But I wasn't looking to be an athlete as Chad was. I got to Arts High School, and everybody, they put that tag on me. Like, oh, you're Chad, little brother. Chad gave such and such 40 last week. I mean, like, Chad is this and that. And it was like, you got to play basketball. I'd never played organized basketball until that point, until I was 13, 14 years old in high school. I never played organized basketball. And so I accepted the challenge, and I learned the game. But I wasn't Chad. But to your point of, like, coming up, looking just like him, being 8 inches shorter than him, but looking just like him, where I went, everywhere I went throughout and it still happens. I go to places throughout the city and now throughout the state, and people are like, oh, you look like Chad. You know Chad? I'm like, yep. My brother, yeah.
I know him a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
So we had a few people on Tyree from Arts High. So it seems like I call, like, Arts High is like the LaGuardia, New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? As far as that. So how was it like going into that school? Because a lot of talent comes out of that school,
Yeah, man. For most of us that decide to go to college is like the high point of our lives in terms of, like, finding ourselves, having fun, really experiencing life. We were doing that in high school.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing, man, when I was at Arts High School, there were drama people running through the hallways with costumes on and wings and singing and dancing. And I had my drum pad at the lunch table, and there was, like, a group over there with a guitar, and they was, making music, and it was everywhere all the time. Gotcha. It was free all the time. And it was a beautiful place to, like, learn and develop in an artistic kind of way, because it was free. And you see a lot of people develop their talents because they weren't, in my opinion, because they weren't boxed in. right? Like there was people that I'm just sitting on the steps playing the guitar. It's 6:30 in the evening. Like there were kids in the school from 7 a.m. to 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. It's like, why are you still here? It's like, this is my place. Like I feel free here. I feel free to be myself. I can develop my craft. I can make my music. I can write my plays and practice my plays and all those things. And so, you know, it was a big thing for me. Like, am I going to go to arts? Am I going to go to science? And I'm truly happy that I did go to arts because experiencing that freedom was truly special.
Right. So, a side question for you: was Mr. Pedro there when you were there?
Yeah, Mr. Pedro was there when I was there.
That's my favorite teacher ever. I had him in 8th grade, man.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I love Mr. Pedro. Pedro's one of the guys, and Pedro's funny too.
I know. It's crazy because like when I'm realizing how young he was when I was in 8th grade, because like I always thought he was 45 when I was in 8th grade, and now I know that's not so.
No.
But he always, I guess when I had him in 8th grade, he might have been like 30. Now that I'm looking back, 27, 28. But like at that time, he had us on lock, you know what I'm saying? But he was always funny. He was always cool. You know, he'll joke with you, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm realizing how young he was now because he's not old now.
Right. Pedro's a good guy, man. I love Mr. Pedro, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was my favorite teacher to this day, man.
That's good. And if you know, now that we all adults, if you get to hang out with him as an adult, he's even funnier, man.
I'm sure.
We go out sometimes and, you know, we have a good time.
Yeah, that's dope. What made you want to get into education?
So, believe it or not, like I went to Rider. I got to Rider. I was an actuarial science student. That was my
what? A what?
Sheesh. I was studying actuarial science. I'm a math person. I like numbers. Right. Basically, the cheap version of what an actuary does is like a risk assessment. So you got right? Yeah. Actuary basically take the data that you input, right? Like I'm a black male living in this city, from this is my driving record exactly, and then they calculate, what's the probability of you having an accident and what that will cost, and they make sure that your insurance rate covers that in case you do have an accident. It's a lot of money. So that's what I studied for 2 years, 3 years at Rider. I changed my major my junior year as a business major. I graduated with a degree in entrepreneurship and marketing. But I was an EOF student. We call it EOP at Rider. And I was a counselor there for 2 years. It felt good, it was all the work. But my whole thing was like, I'm trying to get out the hood. I'm trying to get rich. And then I came back to Newark once I graduated. And the thing that really there was 2 things that really perplexed me, drove me crazy. One was the number of police and ambulance sirens I was hearing. I was down at Rider for 4 years. Is different, right? So I came back home and I was just like, yo, why are there so many police sirens? Like I've never realized that this how it was. And then the second thing was that I started to see that some of the people were doing the same thing that they were doing when I left.
Gotcha.
And that made me realize that what I was able to accomplish was actually special. It was, I'm going to school. I graduated. That's what you're supposed to do. And being able to see that, it was like, no, not everybody gets this opportunity. And so I remember sitting down with myself and being like, you got to make this moment count. Like, what's the thing you would do if there was no barriers? Like if you knew you'd have the money, you'd have the support, all of those things that you needed, if you knew you had them, what would you do? And I was like, I would start a school. I think that's gangster. The thing you could do is to come from the hood, get an education, go do all that, and then come back to the hood and say all right, we building a school, we working in education. And then from that moment, I was like, all right, let's figure out how to do it. And that was it.
It's dope.
No doubt. So I know going through those stages after graduating and things like that, I think we all have it in a certain extent, depending on your background. But do you ever feel like a sense of survivor's remorse? Like the fact that, that you did something that maybe a peer, a friend, or a classmate, someone didn't, and they might take a different turn. So do you ever feel that way?
Absolutely. And it's one of the reasons why I love the work. Because it's we all have choices, right? But then we all have circumstances and communities that we grow up in, and it is what it is. And I do, and I'd be lying if I said I don't think about that. I still think about that, right? Sometimes I still feel it. It's like, even where I'm at in my career now, it's like, not only did I do those things, but I excelled at them, right? Like I was a principal, I was 26 years old, right? And sometimes for me, what I had to learn that sometimes means that when you stand next to people that grew up with you or in the same spaces of you, and they see what you're doing, it's not necessarily your success, but it's a reminder for them of what they did not accomplish. And for me, it's about remaining human in that space. They're like, these accomplishments or these trophies or these things, like those things don't make me, I have friends that didn't go to college, didn't graduate college, didn't do any of those things. But when you love a person, you want what's best for that person. And so some of us have those tough conversations and we get past it. And then some people, to be fully transparent, some people we've not been able to, right? It's like we've not been able to be in the same space because our interaction is a constant reminder of the decisions and the choices that we made that may have taken us on different paths. Right. So, being mature enough to address that, or to walk away from that. So it is a big thing of survivor's guilt, and it's for me, it's haunted me a lot. It's made me give a lot more than I necessarily needed to give, because I'm feeling guilty of being able to do what I've done. But like most things in life, conversation, being able to be vulnerable and have a real conversation gets to the bottom of it.
Yeah. Right. Because you have people that don't want to be around you because they don't feel like worthy in a sense too. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if it's worthy. That might be the word that they choose. I wouldn't put words in other people's mouth, but it's a reminder at the least. That we've been middle school, high school together. We've done college. We've done, like, you've been here for all these years, and now this is what my life looks like, and this is what your life looks like. But also to, and that's one challenge in itself. But also to, for me to like ground myself, and this is one of the things that I love about my closest group of friends, to be able to ground myself, and for clarity, most of the people that are close to me don't have college degrees and don't have my experience in life.
Yeah, I mean, the college degree, I mean, we all have it, but it's not the end all be all. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like your real friends can like take that, digest it, and just like, we still can be friends on this level or whatever. It don't make you better or vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's what I love. That's what I love.
Sometimes I think just as human beings, you outgrow people. I think sometimes people are in your life for like certain seasons, for real, like really, that's what it is. So as you get older, you see that, and then you go, okay, like it's no beef, it's nothing, but we just are going apart.
It's nothing there anymore.
It's nothing there anymore. And then also, one thing you said that I like about the humbling part, but a lot of times, sometimes I feel that we humble ourselves because of someone else's insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one thing to be like braggadocious about something. I'm not saying that. But if you accomplish something, that's an accomplishment. I shouldn't have to not talk about my accomplishment because you're insecure about something that's going on with you. Absolutely. So we got to be careful of not dimming our light because, someone else.
Right? Yeah, that's interesting you bring that up. That's like, I would say that's like the space that I've been transitioning through for maybe like the last 12 to 18 months, right? Like I feel like I've lived in a space where it's like, I've done a few things. Yeah. But I've been not only humble about them, but like super humble, right? Like to the point of like, I'm not gonna let my light shine as bright as it could be because I don't want to offend nobody. Mm-hmm. And that's actually, what I'm experiencing now is like that's not a way to live.
No.
People that love you, right?
Yeah, it's a fact.
Then they can't live with that, right? And we're all growing. And so that if we're gonna go through this journey of life together, then we have to be able to grow together, right?
Exactly.
Things that's not growing are dying.
Yep.
So that's one of the things that I spend a lot of time reflecting on about like, look, I'm fresh out of humility. I don't. It is what it is. The resume is what it is. The work is what it is. I'm not perfect, but I go hard for what I believe in.
Nothing wrong with that.
All All right, so the black genius is, it seems like a alter ego in a sense. What explain the genius brand, I guess, tied in with the music and everything. What you got?
Yeah, man. So like, for starters, I'd say, people have asked me to describe myself in many different rooms and different situations, and that's how I describe myself. I describe myself as black genius. That's who I am. That's what I bring to the table. And beyond that, I believe that I'm not the only one. I'm the one describing it, right? And I'm the one that's built the resume and the things that the accolades to be able to like poke my chest out about it a little bit, and say like, look what I did.
Yeah.
But the reality is, this black genius is on all these blocks.
It's a fact.
They just don't know it, and they just haven't discovered it yet. And for me, one of the things that was pivotal in my life, and I talked about my childhood a little bit, but all the adults around me were always encouraging of that, right?
Yeah, I heard you say that about your mom on the one song, rest in peace, about how she called you that when you was young.
Yeah, like she was, don't worry about them, do your thing, baby.
Right.
that was the way it went, and I think partly as a result of that, I was able to develop that confidence, and I'm still developing it, but able to develop that confidence in going for my goals, in being able to walk in a room as myself and know what I bring to the table and be that black genius, and speak on things and be intellectual and go into the books and draw the business plans and do all of those things, because I have the confidence because it was instilled in me. And part of what I'm doing with the music and the Black Genius brand in totality is I want to be able to pour into those kids on the blocks and have them discover their black genius too, because it's there. You can't tell me, I'm not gonna believe it, that it's only given to me and I'm the only one that got it. It's like, nah, it don't work like that. Like, I've studied the universe, it don't work like that. We dealing with it differently, and that's what we're trying to do. Like, I'm community centered, community based, and I want for the youth that are living in these communities and neighborhoods and environments like Newark to be able to find their black genius as well and poke their chest out about it, and be proud of it, and go on to heights that they never thought they would accomplish as well.
Definitely, because what you stated too, as far as like your mom instilling that in you, I think it's so important to instill stuff in the kids at an early age, right? Like confidence, right? So not necessarily like cockiness, not that. Confidence in what their abilities, to be free thinkers, to think for themselves, and you instill that, at a young age. I think a lot of the kids now, not even just kids, young adults, I should say, some of them don't have that, and I can kind of see that. Quick story: yesterday, I was talking to a young man, and the way we talked, I looked at him and thought he was about 17, 18 years old. Come to find out, he was 26. It shows you but his thought process was totally different than what mine was at 26. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right. So I was hearing them talk. We were talking about certain different things, and I can see that he didn't have that guidance when he was young. He's trying to get on the ball now, but he didn't have it then. So I think if you touch the kids early with this stuff, it'll help them to make, positive, examples, especially in the urban environment too. You need that.
Right. And that's the whole thing about education. It's like why I chose education. It's like, how you gonna make a change? You want to go around and try to convince people? You want to build and grow with children and give them the expertise that you've developed and that you've learned through the years, and have them grow that way. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna get into education. I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna learn as much as I can. And that's just what I did. And I echo your sentiments. I agree with you 100%. I think sometimes we don't think about accurately how the environment impacts us.
Yeah.
Especially as a child, right? And so it has a huge impact, right? And so having that voice that's instilling confidence in you, that's motivating you, that's encouraging you to think and read and explore things, that changes a lot. Going into my musical confidence is like through the roof, right? But like after you spend 4 years at Arts High, Like if your musical confidence isn't through the roof, then you messed up, right? Like
Right.
just
Yeah.
it's just every day, just really quickly, at Arts High. So in 8th grade, when I was in 8th grade, I took algebra 1.
Okay.
When I got to Arts High, I was supposed to take geometry. I got an A in algebra 1. It was great. It was all good. I was supposed to take geometry. And I got there. It was like, you can't take geometry. What do you mean I can't take geometry? I took algebra 1 already. I passed it. It's good. Give me geometry. It's like, no. At Arts High, you take music twice every day.
Jeez.
And with you taking music twice every day, there's no geometry time that fits your schedule.
That's hysterical. That's crazy.
Algebra 1 again. And I was like, really? Y'all gonna put the music over algebra 1? And they was like, yeah. And I took algebra 1 again, but that was the level of emphasis it placed on that level, placed on creativity. And
on the arts.
Music and arts in that way. And again, that like lends itself to the confidence. You see, one thing about people when they graduate Arts High, they're usually fairly confident in their abilities. And I think that's the reason why.
Right.
No doubt.
So you got the CHIPS app coming up soon. When you tap in a little bit to that?
Yeah. So the CHIPS app is my newest venture. My teammate and I, we've been working on this for quite some time now. Basically, it's a very simple application. Students use the CHIP app and they get rewarded for their performance on the app. So they use the app, they earn chips or lose chips, and at a given amount of chips, they can cash out those chips for either gift cards or financial equivalents. So like the gift cards or cash on a debit card, etc. And so we've been working on that. We're still working on it, and we're looking to release it in the next month or so.
Dope, man. Is it going to be for K through 12, or is it just high school or any?
Yeah, we're focusing on 5 through 12 right now.
Okay.
Yeah, we're focusing on 5 through 12 with a primary focus on critical thinking and math abilities. Over time, we're going to expand to all of the other disciplines, but that's the initial place where we're going to start at. I used to be a math teacher. Math is my thing, so I figured that.
I was to say you about to get some adults on there trying to get some bread.
You know what? To be completely honest, we're not mad about that either. What we're trying to do with CHIPS is multifaceted, but one is just like, education seems to be separate from society as a whole. It's like, oh, you want to be educated? They do that at the school over there. Go there, and they'll give you that, and then everything else about life is here. But in reality, we know that like learning doesn't happen that way. It's happening all the time. It's happening in life. And so part of what we're trying to do is just bring education back into the fold of life and society. And then with the financial incentive, one of the things we're really proud of is being able to pour into the communities that, we came from, right? Like having your child, with an extra 10, 20, 30, $50 to be able to contribute to the things that they want to have is added value.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
That money goes a long way in on the blocks that we grew up on. And so we want to be able to contribute in that type of way. And so we're looking forward to it. Like I said, within the next few months, we're going to be releasing it nationally. And we think it's going to be a success.
That sounds dope. The one thing I wanted to tap into as well, I was looking through your website and seeing a few things. I can tell you're a very smart guy just by your conversation too, besides the school stuff, as far as like, your thought process. But you mentioned things about therapy, right? Yeah. And I think that's so important because there's a stigma with therapy within the Black community, especially within the Black male community. We don't really talk about that. Well, more and more people are talking about it more. But can you elaborate on that? Like, what has therapy helped you with? And how can you think we can get rid of that stigma?
Yeah, I think getting rid of the stigma is just like it's more so about changing the narrative versus getting rid of the stigma, and that comes with let's talk about it. Let's make it a conversation like you're doing right now, like having you got a platform and you bring it up. Let's talk about mental health. Let's talk about therapy. What do you think about that? How do you engage with that? And I think that's part of it. I think we need to offer it more, especially to our youth in the schools, etc. I think it's important. Therapy has helped me in a myriad of ways. like formally, I've been going to therapy for like 6 or 7 months, and like contracting my own therapist. But when I think about, you know, my life and my childhood and my teenage years and my upbringing, there was always a loving, caring adult that was like, I'm listening.
Gotcha.
You know,
Yeah.
talk. And so this helped me to process my feelings, my emotions, my traumas. I believe that if you growing up on a block that I grew up on or any of the surrounding blocks, you need therapy, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I remember this quick story related. I remember being a 7th grade math teacher and my class just being off one day. And they like not participating, they're not raising their hands or anything. And I'm like, yo, I'm teaching this lesson. I don't understand what's
going on.
What's going on? And so, you know, I stopped and I'm like, all right, y'all got it. What's the joke? What's going on?
Yeah, you got to stop it sometimes.
Yeah, you got to stop it, come out of character. I'm like, yo, what's really going on? And everybody's looking around, and one of the students raised their hand and was like, you know, such and such got shot. He died. They 12 years old in 7th grade.
Right.
Yeah.
Like had to put the math aside for a minute and have a conversation with them about like, you know, I know it looks like these things happen all the time and that it's normal, but it's not normal to bury your best friend from a gun murder at 12 years old.
Yeah.
That's not normal, right? And so there needs to be more conversation and more support about that, which I think therapy can help, because that's the environment that they're living in. And they're growing up with those traumas and they just put it in their back pocket and they go into their next class and they go into the next day. And, you know, at some point you're going to have to face those things. And so I'm an advocate of therapy. I'm a super advocate now that I'm in it myself and it's working. On Tuesdays, look, nope, I'm going to therapy. Then I'm getting some tacos. That's what we do Tuesdays, and I don't miss a session. I've canceled events. I've delayed, you know, meetings and shows. Like, look, I got to do my thing. It's important to me, and it helps. And you know, as a person that's experiencing it, I'll say it works, man. It works, and I think we need to spend more. We need to invest more in it. Not just for us as individuals, but for us as a community. Because when you compare communities, we're probably dealing with some much more intense things.
Fact.
And
yeah.
So I'm an advocate for therapy.
Definitely.
All right. So in your free time, when you get to little break, what do you watch on TV? What you listening to?
Actually, my therapist got me working on this. I'm an admitted workaholic, man.
Mm-hmm.
So my therapist is like, nope, you can't work on this day. So, you know, I'm a musician, so I explore music on all different fronts. Started out as a jazz musician, so I like to get into my jazz. Clearly, I like to get into the rap. Love rap. You know, that J. Cole album is...
Yeah, for sure.
That's the thing.
Still going.
Yes, it's still going. It's still in a rotation. Got my favorites. Music. I'm a big reader. I didn't read a lot on my own as a kid, but now, like, what I own most is books.
That's dope.
So it's like, you know, some people I got 100 pairs of sneakers in my closet. It's like, look, I got 600 books over there. I got a library, and so that's my thing. You know, hang out. I spend a lot of time with my niece and nephew. That's like a weekly thing. I go over. We have lunch. We cook lunch, and it's more so about kind of like what you was mentioning earlier. Like I get to sit down and have conversations with the kids about things that they want to talk about, right? And there's still that confidence and ask questions. Why do you think that? Why do you think it's like that? What would you do if you were in this place? And I think that little space often gets lost with children. It's just my assumption, right? As an educator, I don't have any biological children of my own, but you know, they have thoughts and opinions, and some of them are like super deep. And I think that a lot of people miss the opportunity to have conversations with them. So, you know, I take a liking to that. Spend a lot of time with the family. You know, I'm getting into golf now, so I'm hitting a few balls.
Yeah, my son just started, so I gotta get out there so I can at least teach him the basics. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. They get good. Look, you gotta look. You're gonna have to step your game up, man.
Yeah, I saw a swing. I saw a swing last week. I'm like, yo.
Yeah, you gotta step your game up. He start telling you how to do it. You
Right.
gotta check your own self and be like, yo, see.
Yeah.
That's like what I like to do, man. I like to read and research and then with the Chips app, this is a full-time job, right? So I'm working, taking meetings and talking to investors and doing research and just making sure everything is right so that it could benefit the community.
True. So what you got coming up next on the music front?
We're gonna do a little EP, a couple tracks. I got like 40,000 of them, but I'm probably gonna keep it down to 5, 6. Got some things that I want to put out. Got an album ready. Been ready for about a year now. I'm not gonna give you the name of it, but I got all that ready. So we're gonna do a little EP, drop the app, just do the business side behind all of those pieces. And then we'll do the album in the future, maybe it's the end of the year, fourth quarter or top of next year. And then go from there. Got a lot of things to say.
Sounds like it, man.
Word.
Yeah, man. It's been a lot, to be able to. It's not lost on me that I've had the luxury of being in a bunch of rooms that many people don't get to go into.
Yeah.
And, many people definitely don't get to go into it at my age, right? And so my thing has always been like, when you get through the door, like leave the door stop.
Facts. Yeah.
real.
Word up.
For real.
Pull a guy aside and say like, hey, look, this, and that, A, B, and C.
Exactly. Pay it forward. You know what I mean?
That's my motto, man. I truly believe in that. And so, I hide a lot of it in the music. And so it's just like the music, being a full-time entrepreneur, running the businesses, being in the meetings with the executives, getting the contracts right, and just being able to really let that Black genius shine, right, in the direction that I wanted to go, right? That's not tampered or tailored by like, oh, I think you should do this and I think you should do that. It's like, no, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to do it. This is what I'm doing.
It's funny. You said we spoke about Chad earlier. I think Chad looks up to you too, though.
We back and forth.
Yeah, because I saw you posted something at one point, and he was like, "You the one," you know what I'm saying? And I know, like, as a big bro, you always gonna, show love and look up to him. But I think it's dope that it's pretty. It's mutual.
Reciprocated,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's definitely reciprocated.
Listen, me and Chad talk every day. And it wasn't like that when we was kids.
Right.
He was involved in different things. Chad was involved in some things, and I was a nerd.
Right.
So we wasn't tight as kids, but as adults, Chad and I tight. I send Chad every verse, every song. What you think? He send verse. We going back and forth. Change this word. Say that. You know how you did this, do that. And I'm super grateful, humble for Chad. Like, you saw that in the public post, like, you the one. That's Chad's language to me every day. That's how he talks. I
felt that though. Just from that though.
When he put out the Good Karma mixtape, he's like, yo, you Black Jesus. This almost 10 years ago. And it's like, as adults, that's how he's always been. It's like, yo, look, you are the one. And I appreciate having that level of support. That level of support, especially from my big brother, right?
Facts.
That's dope.
That means the world,
So Tyree, how does it feel now that you're an adult, and you said when you were younger you were the quote unquote nerd or the quote unquote, little quirky, right? Quote unquote, I put quotes because there's nothing wrong with being the nerd. I want my kids to be nerds, right? That's how you want them to be. But the tide has turned, right? To where the nerds, quote unquote, are winning.
Yeah.
Winning, right? So how does that feel to say, like, all right, all the people that thought I was quirky, now you look at people, right, that's a little more eccentric, right? So you look at yourself, then you look at Cole, then you look at Jay-Z, then you look at certain people that before always tell how someone is by how they wear their hair. And how much confidence they have in themselves, right? Yeah. Because not everybody can rock the hairstyle that you rock.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So how does it feel that tide has turned?
It just goes like that. It just goes like that.
That's what I'm saying.
look, most of the calls I get are for referrals. People like, hey, can I put you down for this? Or I'm gonna have such and such call for that, or I need this. And it's like, it's twofold. Part of it is like your ego. It's like, yeah, like I poke my chest out a little bit. It's like, hey, remember that guy?
Yeah.
Now.
You got, I mean, that's a natural reaction,
right?
Just from having to deal with that.
Right. That's the ego. Look, they used to crack jokes about the boy. I'm writing, I'm making sure the contracts get approved. I know we hiring that guy, or we not hiring this guy. And that's, and that feels kind of good for the moment, but that's just the ego.
Yeah,
the other part is just being able to bet on yourself for such a long period of time and watch it manifest. That's the beauty. That's
no doubt.
It's like you didn't quit on your. There's a lot of guys that we all grew up with. They had it. They seen their black genius, whether it was in the English class or whatever. They knew what they had it. And at a certain point, they was like, you know what? I'm gonna put that aside. I'm gonna do this what they do, right? And so for me, it's like being able to. I'm sticking with this all the way through, and now watch it manifest and be like, told you it was coming, and now it's here. And that's the real beauty of it. And I'm able to take that. I'm able to take the fruits from that, and I'm able to pour back. Right? I'm able to put people, in positions to feed their family, to advance in their careers, and things like that. And that's the beauty of it. I think as we all become adults, we all realize, most of the stuff we did as teenagers was stupid. Right. We hate each other for no real reasons, right?
Yeah.
And as adults, as men, we're able to be like, look, this is the situation. This is what I'm trying to do. How can we help? And it's like, if I can help, that's my thing. If I can help, I'm gonna help.
Yeah.
No doubt.
If I can't help, I'm gonna tell you I can't help. But if I can help, I'm gonna help. Might not be what you want, but I'm gonna help.
Some form of fashion.
You should take a day and just be like, nah, I'm a nerd. I ain't helping nobody.
That just be the ego.
I know.
Then you don't get, you know how that go. You don't get, man. I believe in the universe. You
like, nah, I'm a nerd. You don't need that.
Yeah, you
good.
That would do something for the ego. But I truly believe that, for me personally, just like y'all know a little bit about the backstory and all that. To survive all of those things, all of those moments, and to be like where I am, that's, I don't know what everybody's religious or spiritual affiliations are. That's something greater than me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No doubt about it.
That's a win. You already won.
I already won. It's not about the ego part. It's about like, I was given the opportunity to give the opportunity. And so I try to do that,
Yeah, can't beat that. All right, Ty, we wrap up with our rapid fire section. So we're gonna give you some tough ones, and we're gonna keep it fun, man. All right. Okay. So we talking about, you were just talking about music. What's your favorite Chad B song?
Damn, I can hear it in my mind. I can't remember the title of it. I'm gonna find it too. It was 2 albums ago, two projects ago. I'm gonna find it. Hold up. What's the name of this song?
I'll tell you mine while you wait. That Forever Over gives me chills every time.
Forever Over?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Joint with Surf.
With him and Surf, yeah.
Oh yeah, that joint is crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Definitely top 5. Better Days on Back of the Back. This is like the last project, or the one before. It's the last project.
Okay, cool.
Better Days, Back of the Back. And then long time ago, We Made Us. It's like 8-9 years ago.
Okay.
All right. I'm taking a different route. So we know you like to read, like books. Do you remember your first book that you read front to back?
Yeah. It's a book about Michael Jordan. Okay. The caveat is it wasn't about Michael Jordan, the basketball player. It was about Michael Jordan, the businessman.
Okay.
A mentor in college bought it for me. I had me and my mentor, we have a great relationship still. We had a conversation. I was like 17. I just got to college. And we talked about a lot of philosophical ideas, a bunch of stuff. And he's like, oh, so what kind of books do you read? And I was like, I don't read books, man. He was like, how do you know all this information and you don't read books? I'm like, I listen and I pay attention to the world. And he's like, oh, we got to get you reading. You don't know what you're missing. And he bought me that book. And I was like, I ain't really, you mischaracterized me. Like, I like sports and I like playing basketball, but it ain't really my thing. I'm more into the business. And I opened the book and it was about the brain and how they made the sneakers and how they raise the money and all that stuff. And ever since then, I've been like reading. But that's the first one from cover to cover for leisure. Like school didn't say I had to read, etc. So that was one.
It hit different when you do it for leisure.
You get something, you get more out of it when you do it.
Yeah, that's a fact.
For real.
You spoke about the off-season J. Cole joint. What's your favorite song on there?
Amiri and 100 Million.
Yeah.
He loves Amiri.
Mary's crazy. I was on Mary from the start. Once I first heard, I'm like, this is crazy. This is going off. Once I heard the first,
I couldn't even go through the rest. I had to bring that back. Come on.
Exactly.
That's how I judge a track. When I'm listening to an album, that's how I judge it. Do I gotta rewind this and play this again?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one.
Yep. Just the flow and how it drops, how it comes on, is just different.
It is. And then beyond that is Cole. People, for a long time, people want to be like Cole, Kendrick, Drake, and then they want to take Cole out of the conversation. They're like, oh, Cole always holding back. But when you get this project entirely, and specifically on that song, Cole tapped into Cole, and he knew him.
It's all there. No doubt. All right. So this one, what is one physical thing, tangible, that you could not live without?
Something tangible that I could not live without. It would have to be a book.
No doubt.
It's books for sure.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Everything else is like cool, but I got a thing for knowledge.
Right.
Books is it.
No doubt.
All right, so here's my last one. What's one bucket list item that you want to take care of in the next year?
That I want to take care of in the next
year?
Like
you can realistically do it and you want to do it within a year.
Yeah, within the next year, there's a good friend of mine, and there's a few bucket list items. But the one that comes to my mind first is a good friend of mine, and I want to call her and tell her to quit her job. We partner in the company together, but things. She's still working full time. Me, not so much. But
I got you.
That's gonna be a pivotal moment when I'm
that's
like,
huge, man.
It's happening. Quit.
That's life change. That's what everybody want to do to somebody that they truly care about, is to give them that call. Like, leave right now.
It's over.
Like, wherever you at.
Right. Don't even give 2 weeks.
Yeah, you good. That's dope. That's really
so
dope.
I'm looking forward to that. I've actually, not that y'all need to know this, but I've actually done the calculations in the spreadsheets. It's probably gonna happen sometime around November, December.
Look, you're a mathematician, so we already know what's going on.
Yeah, I need to give you my numbers. Let me know when I can be out.
Word up, like, yo.
Yeah, it's real work. It's a lot of work being done, man. My days start at 4:30 a.m. every day. So
I bet.
It's real grind.
That's a blessing, man. All right, it's my last one. 5 dinner guests that are alive. Who would it be?
Okay. Jigga, for sure. Obama. Asada. Yeah, Asada. Einstein.
All right.
Okay, definitely nothing wrong with that.
For real.
Einstein. I got it. Yeah.
Got one more, right?
Pick his brain. The last one would be purely. Nah, it would have to be Huey. I'll go with Huey.
Huey Newton, yeah, man.
Huey Newton, yeah. Woo.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, that'd be a great dinner.
You ain't even gonna be laughing.
And that's indicative of my personality. It's gonna be very serious conversation.
I see.
It's gonna be mad serious.
Yeah. If I got if I can get one more, 6 my favorite number, so y'all should give me 6.
Yeah, 6.
You got
one more, yeah.
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, you got to get the
Dave Chappelle.
Because he's got that type of comedy too that will fit with that table.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what's the thing about Dave? He's my favorite comedian, pretty much. But I don't really think he tells jokes.
No.
I think he's telling real life like he's just talking about life, and the way he says it, it's a joking form, but he's really telling something serious.
Right.
And only a few people can do that. Not everyone can tap into that, and he mastered it.
It's social commentary, really.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's more like social commentary. I listen. I love Dave Chappelle, and every time I listen or watch a video of Dave Chappelle, I get something different. And it's always true. It's not like I'm up here for the sake of telling you jokes. It's like I'm gonna shine a mirror so that you can see yourself, and we're gonna laugh about it while we're here.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like I knew he was the truth real quick when I went to a taping of the Chappelle show years ago, and Ashley Larry, Donna Rollins was just opened up. He warmed the crowd up, and then Dave came out for an hour and a half and did stand up about current events that was happening right in the news right now. Then said, I'm gonna go back and act like you never seen me before and yell, and I'm gonna do the show. So I was like, yo, this guy's different. Like I didn't really expect that to happen. He did a whole hour and a half about something. It was just happening in the paper that day. He was talking about it.
Genius. He tapped into his own he knows what his genius is, and can't nobody take it away from him. And that's what I'm trying to inspire in myself and others and in the youth in the community. That's the Black genius. When you find that thing that's yours, there's nothing anybody in the world can do about it. And I believe we all have it. Most of us just pay attention to it or get distracted from it. And so Dave Chappelle is a good example. And if you know Dave Chappelle's story, you know about him going to an arts high school out in DC and his parents being well educated. And it's like, let's get a PhD or something. I'm gonna tell jokes. Doing, kid. And it clearly he's tapped into that Black genius and he recognizes it. So he's phenomenal. He definitely be at that dinner. He makes sure we all don't get too depressed.
Right.
Yeah, word.
All right, so Ty, you want to give out any social media website before we wrap?
Yeah, for me, my personal, you get all things Tyree on here. It's at Sir Bowtie Barnes. Same on Instagram and Twitter. Very active on Instagram. Black Genius, which is the brand, has an Instagram as well at Black Genius Brand. BlackGeniusBrand.com for all the merch, updates, things happening, things changing. And we just launched the Chips app handle, so at Chips app, where you'll see everything that's happening with the Chips app in the next 2 months. You're gonna see a lot of updates on there, how to get it, what the process is. So those are the handles. Those are ways to connect with us on social media. We post pretty regularly and try to keep the people engaged. I don't know if y'all heard the phone ring. That was actually Chad just sending me.
So good. Right. No, so
say what up.
Word. Tell me it's good.
All right. Well, appreciate having you on, man. Great conversation. Very appreciate the wisdom, man. You way ahead of your time, man. So appreciate having you on. Want to thank everyone for listening, watching. We are at IG at the Great Minds Podcast, on Twitter at the Great Minds P1. Salute to Tyree Barnes, aka Black Genius. Appreciate you, brother.
Of course, man.
Peace, blessings, man.
Blessings. Podcast. Great minds think alike. Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. Let's rock. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast. 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 Derrick Devon, oh boy, like Cam on a song. Culture safe now, thank God. The panic is gone. Time to heal from the pain. Take the bandages off. You gotta win. The stakes are high like a cannabis bomb. Okay, it's game time. Picture with the balls. That's a FaceTime. Great minds spreading faster than a rumor through the grapevine. Vaughn and Derrick, deserve the merit. All salute. It's more than just a podcast show. It's like a movie. Vaughn and Derrick, what up? Great minds think alike. It's the Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. It's the Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. It's the Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast.